Hello friends, today I'm back with my Chibitronics and Winnie and Walter collaboration project. I'm using today the diamond stamps and I'm using my Misty stamping tool to stamp the images with a light gray ink, and I'm stamping the images again on vellum using Wassermark ink pad, and I want to heat set it with gold embossing powder, and this I want to do later on my colored images also. This is why the Misty stamping tool become really handy. For my images I'm using Copic markers, and now you can see that I first thought I have to make really fancy coloring, but then I realized that nobody would see the shadings very well because of the gold embossing powder I want to use later. So I decided to go with a basic shading, and I'm using here different colors of Copic markers because I also wanted to create a rainbow scene. I'm not going with a traditional rainbow, but you can see that it's coming really close to. And I'm not caring about to stay in lines because I want to fuzzy cut the images, so it isn't that necessary to stay in lines, and maybe it made the card faster. Now I'm heat setting the paper a little bit because I really saturated the paper with the Copic markers and I didn't want the embossing powder to stick on places where I didn't want to. So I tried it first. Now I'm using anti-static powder tool and using my Wassermark ink pad to stamp the images again on top of the colored images, and using the Wow Gold embossing powder to heat set the images. And as you can see through the vellum, I'm taping the vellum on top of the other images, so there would be only one, so that I only needed to fuzzy cut the images once. I hope it makes sense for you. But I didn't want to show you all the fuzzy cutting, so I'm showing here just one image. And now I can separate the pieces, and I fuzzy cut once but got two images. I started to create my scene now, and I taped all the images on poster tape because I want to know where my diamonds will be, so I know where the lights have to be also, and I'm tracing it down to my card panel. And as always, I like to hide the thickness of my card. This is why I'm separating the card panel into pieces. And now, sorry, I'm figuring out where I have to put my holes for the LEDs. Sorry, I'm not that fast at showing like I'm telling you, but now I'm punching the holes in my card panel, and there the LEDs will shine through. Now I only need to draw them in to my card base, and I'm using here for my Chibitronics stencil. I know lots of people are asking. They will be in the shop. Patricia is trying to get them, but I guess there was a manufacturer problem, so I'm sorry I can't link to that. And now I'm creating my circuit. I'm taping down the copper tape. I'm using here only my fingers. I guess I didn't know where my bone folder is, because normally I like to use my bone folder as the circuit is easier to create. This little piece of paper I'm using now is my switch, and sometimes this happens to me that I forget to tape the switch first, but I fixed this problem. And now you can see the second part of the circuit. I'm really sorry that this time my head was really often in the way, but I needed to know where to tape the copper tape down. And now I can finish the circuit with sticking the LEDs onto the copper tape. And here you can see the circuit is working. And now is the trickiest part. I had last weekend a trip in North Germany with lots of other crafters, and I teach them Chibitronics because they were really afraid of using them. Some of them even thought that maybe they can burn the houses if something goes wrong. But you can't burn your house down. Sorry, I will talk later again. Please don't do it like me. Don't use that much from the foam tape, because the lights won't shine through the foam tape, and then you can see like a really hard border, and I didn't like it, but I couldn't fix it after everything was taped down, so I had to go with it. But now you guys know it, and you can do it better. You can see it now. I didn't like this. Use less foam tape and with more distance between the lights, so you don't have this problem. Or you could use a black panel, a black cardstock. Sorry. Now back to my story. I teach them Chibitronics because they were really afraid of using them, and I always told them that using Chibitronics isn't complicated. It really isn't, because we had also 2 girls with us, 7 and I guess 9 years old, and they created the circuit really easy, I guess in less than 5 minutes. And the trickiest part is always to put the card together. It isn't creating the circuit. Creating the circuit is probably the fastest part of the cards, but to get it into the card is the trickiest part, and this is how I challenge myself every time. And I always challenge myself every time in trying to hide the signals, and this is why I sometimes make things more complicated. And one error I made here also was to stamp my images later, my sentiment, but it was okay because I used lots of foam tape. But now I told you that you please don't do it, so please stamp it first. And because the card wasn't sparkly enough, I used here my Spectrum Noir Sparkle pen and some sequins from Pretty Pink Posh, and my card is now all finished. I hope you enjoyed my card for today, and I hope you got inspired. Here you can see more projects I created for Chibitronics, and I hope to see you back soon. Bye!